And this is a regular November meeting for the Nanakuli Neighborhood Board, November 19, and we are meeting at Nanakuli Public Library, and we are also available on a WebEx platform. I am Vice Chair Naomi Hano. I'll be leading the meeting for a while. So, okay, moving on. So our first order is City Emergency and First Responder Monthly Report. And HFD is not here. So we will go if HPD, are you available?
Yes. Good evening, aloha. Sergeant Muraoka from Honolulu Police Department, District 8 Community Policing Team. Good evening to everybody. So I'm going to give you the stats for the month of September. For the district, we had 38 motor vehicle thefts, of which 5 were in Nanakuli. Burglaries, 14 in the district, 0. I'm happy to report in Nanakuli. 134 thefts were reported, of which 21 were in our area. Unauthorized entry into motor vehicle, 35, of which 5 was in our area. Total citations, 291. Total calls for service for our district was 6,289. Nanakuli, 1,068. One announcement, December 14th is the Nanakuli Christmas on the Ave. That'll be in the evening. We will be there passing out presents to all the kids. So should be a good event. Hopefully everybody can make it. Any questions?
Are there any questions from board members for HPD? Oh, any questions from the community for HPD? Please line up at the microphone and you got 2 minutes.
Okay, Mr. Dixon here. About November 15th on why it took HPD over an hour to start controlling traffic from the accident at 5:20 a.m.
I would have to research that. I don't have the answer offhand.
Okay, thanks.
Can get back to you on that.
Aloha, Kalaisaw Zero. Sergeant Fumi, you know, this past Friday had a mean accident thing, yeah, that had happened in Nanakuli. And there's one for open Park Air Road, the emergency access. Why did they close it early when there still was congestion up on Park Air Road to Sea Country all the way, even on Fairton Highway? It took us over 3 hours just to get out of Waianae. We were stuck. And a concern about this, I'm bringing up, is because Park Air Road has a lot of brush and a lot of trash there. If there was a fire and all those people were stuck up there, it's on doom. And that's a big concern because they could at least keep the emergency access road open until they release the congestion, because that was a lot, yeah, a little too much. Hakima Road was blocked off, so much traffic. I mean, I don't know how to explain, but if there was a fire at Park Air Road, you would have lost a lot of lives, and that's a big concern. So I am going to bring it up to the, DLNR too. So that's my concern. Is there
Okay.
a reason why they
Yeah,
didn't
sorry.
try to?
Sorry,
Yeah.
hi, this is Officer Vega. Yeah, so one of the things that everybody has to understand that HPD will open up the road when there's emergency and stuff like that. One of the things that they talked about was that traffic congestion is not considered a reason to open up the road. In this case, yeah, the lanes were all blocked, so eventually it was opened up. To the question that was brought up earlier about why it took HPD so long to respond, HPD didn't take long to respond. It just took a while to get the road open up. In regards to the fire, if there was a fire up there, again, that's one of the reasons why we don't open the road all the time, because it's not a safe road to keep open at all times. The other thing with that is, because of the way the roads are up there and all the different jurisdictions, there needs to be an officer up there or somebody helping to direct traffic during that time. So again, if you have an officer at every single one of those gates, you're looking at 5 officers that are off the road to handle everything else at the time that everything else is going on. We are working to get some better guidelines as far as when it should be and shouldn't be. As far as the gate being closed when it was, again, once the roads were open up, technically, I know there's still traffic, but again, Pacquiao Road isn't used just because there's traffic on Farrington Highway. So we were justified in opening it up when the lanes were all blocked. But once traffic starts flowing and stuff like that, by keeping it open, you're removing officers from the road, and then you still have the bottleneck with everybody coming from Pacquiao back onto Farrington. So you're still having that same issues and stuff like that. So it was closed because it was closed only after the roadway was cleared. It wasn't closed while the accident was still going on. So hopefully that answers your question.
No, it answers my question, but there still was a congestion on Farrington Highway because people are still coming from Waianae side. So that is a concern, Officer Pickett. That is a concern because, like I said, once the roads are closed and you got 2 sides going in and out, once the roads are closed, we, the community, are trapped if there's an emergency fire. We, the community, are trapped. I'm talking about the whole 96792. That is my concern. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello, Purple Pagan, this is Austin.
Sir.
That morning on the 15th, I made a phone call to the civil defense at 6:44 in the morning. Their response to me was, unless they have a fatality on the road, that's the only time they will open up any type of bypass roads. So I was concerning about the Pa'atea Road, particularly. So do HPD collaborate with our civil defense in situations as such? If not, there should be some type of protocol where civil defense will engage with HPD and will assist with the community to open up these access roads. This is 6:44. I got a timestamp on my telephone. I kept this. That's my question. Is there?
Hey, so I think I can answer some of this. So, how's it going, Austin? How you doing?
Hi,
So
Lieutenant.
the Pa'akea, right? That's the city has an MOU, a memorandum of understanding, and it's spelled out that what's the conditions for the road to be open, and a traffic accident is technically not one of those. And so, it was opened because we empathize, we have empathy for the people that live in that community to help them out. But technically speaking, it didn't qualify as an emergency. The road was meant for evacuation purposes, natural disasters, not traffic congestion, convenience. And so getting back to the original question of like, how come it was closed if there was still congestion? They opened the road because of the accident. They could technically clear the accident. You could still have backlog, but we can't keep it open much longer because we're sort of in that, we're going against what that MOU is. Now, the conversation moving forward is that, it's been on the news, and I'm sure some of the lawmakers can comment on this, but they're talking about having that road being a permanently open road. And so it doesn't have to be open, and there's alternative routes because, as you understand, on the west side, there is limited access going in and out. And so that's the conversation moving forward. But technically speaking, we have an MOU that we have to abide by. And, road closure, traffic accident is not considered emergency according to the MOU. It would have to be natural disaster, evacuation, fire, tidal wave, something of that nature. We did open it just because it was one of those situations where, we're just gonna do it, and if we get backlash later, we'll get backlash in terms of if in terms of opening it. But because we can't have people sitting that long, and what other options, right? When we have this road that we can use, but that's got to be the conversation moving forward. That's something that the lawmakers, if the community wants to see this road open more, that's something they got to take up with the lawmakers, because right now the MOU we have, it restricts how we can open it for traffic accidents. Does that make sense? And in terms of like civil defense, we
Lieutenant,
can open it.
I
We
hear
don't
what
have
you're
to have,
saying.
we don't have to
I
have
hear-
civil defense to open it. We have the key. So we make notifications, but in reality, civil defense or DEM, we're usually the ones to open it first because we're usually more readily available. But notifications are usually made when we decide to open it. We usually got to make a notification that it's been opened, and then when it's secured. But we can't leave it open all day because once again, the traffic accident happened, they addressed it, they investigated it, they're opening up the road. The congestion still may continue, but at some point we have to close that road because of that MOU. But that's kind of what the sticking point is with that.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Right now, and there's two issues. Like, you folks has the rights to open and shut the gates. What is civil defense role into all of this? I hear all this law. I think it's going to have to be kicked up to our lawmakers to look into this. I know Andrea Tupola got involved with that morning, so she had it executed to have the thing open. I don't know what protocol she had went through, but I think we're going to leave it with Andrea's level to have it deciphered, analyzed, and civil defense have to kick in. They have to kick in because what is protocols for civil defense into these matters as well. Not only, we ain't going to blame only HPD. There must have some type of collaboration in this. That's all I have. Thank you, Lieutenant Carrera. Appreciate that.
Okay, thank you. Board Member Corona.
Yes, please. Just real quick for HPD. I'm going to bring this up during community comments concerns with our city and state rep, but I just want to make a comment that the moment the road is shut down, that should constitute an emergency for the entire Leeward Coast, because now the ability for anyone to exit the coast in any emergency situation, which means it could be someone going for dialysis, someone going in for surgery, someone's child has had an accident outside the coast and the parent needs to get there. That's an immediate emergency when the road is shut down. Therefore, they should implement an immediate action with the city and the state to open up those road access roads to get around the accident. And I'm not saying that's your responsibility, because I'm leveraging all this on the city and the state, because those are the people that need to get their acts together to get us something employed out here when these emergencies happen. This was an emergency. Traffic was backed up in Waianae until 10 o'clock. It was still in Waianae, and that's unacceptable. This was an emergency situation. The city and the state failed us at this point. I'm not blaming the HPD. I'm looking focus at the city and the state. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Myers.
Thank you, Chair. I'm part of the Transportation Committee, and what I plan to do is to bring this on the agenda on the Transportation Committee so that the members of the board and the members that are part of the community that attend the Transportation Committee, we can further look into this situation as far as the memorandum of understanding, so that we can have understanding. We're not picking on HPD every time from, misunderstanding. So I'll reach out to Councilmember Tupola to ask, or can one of you email that to me so that we can take it in the committee level and do our due diligence to understand it better, and maybe even see if it needs to be modified so that it can address some of the concerns that our community has. One of my concerns when there's an accident is that if there is a kupuna comprehensive, or if there's someone that has to take medication and they're stuck in traffic for hours upon hours in gridlock, that is a concern for me as far as health. And with the recent time that we had the 911 down, if having your cell phone when you're driving on the road doesn't seem to be, something that we can maybe rely on when we had that situation with the 911 going down, not accepting our mobile phones. So I think it's something that our community wants us to address so that we can take into consideration. I know it's not just traffic, it's a health and safety issue as well. But thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Member Myers.
Can I say
Okay.
something real quick?
Sure.
So I looked up the case. The case was dispatched at 5:17 in the morning. 5:18, first officer was on scene, so it took 1 minute for us to respond to the scene. Just want to let the gentleman know that went up to the mic that it wasn't 1 hour.
Okay. All right. Thank
you.
you, Sergeant Fumi, and thank you for all you guys do. Yes, it was a very challenging day for all of us that morning, so thank you. Okay, so moving on, the next thing on the agenda is the filling of 2 at-large vacancies. This vacancy will run until June of 2025, so about 6 months. And then also we do have the elections coming up, but anyone wanting to fill the vacancies, it will be from tonight until. So anyone who wants to fill the vacancy, please line up at the mic, introduce yourself, say a little bit about yourself and why you want to be on a board.
Yes, my Mr. Kong. I wanted to say something to the officers,
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Uh,
but just
I
letting
didn't-
everybody know that we're not ready. We're not ready. They couldn't answer me months ago. We're not ready. How you move that much people, yeah? So I'm here tonight to help the community. And this is my second time, and this might be my last time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Gary Shinsato, lifelong member of the West Side community. Attended Waianae, graduated from Waianae High School, graduated at UH Manoa, electrical engineering. Like I said, 2 months ago, I've been doing other communities, making them more sustainable, efficient. And I figure since I retired, I want to give back to my community. So I've seen a lot of missteps. For example, the bypass road. And one thing we got to think about on the bypass road is that the thing fills back into Farrington Highway on Halilua, and there's no drainage on Halilua, in between Halilua and Palapala. So depending on the emergency situation, you're still gonna be backed up
Okay.
because of that.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Yeah. All right. And yeah, this is for the vacancy. Yeah.
Okay. Aloha, my name is Blessing Star Dela Cruz, best known as Blessings. Why I want to be on board? Because I lived in Miley for a while. I raised my children here and now I'm nesting, empty nest. I'm here to come up with solutions concerning the needs and concerns of the community. I'm best fitted for my experience and expertise and credentials. I'm in criminal and civil law, sovereignty, international for the Hawaiian Islands. I'm medically inclined in mental health, kapuna, keiki with specialized special needs, and ohana base. All military branches and also social services. Last but not least, I'm faith-based and a godly woman. I'd appreciate your consideration, both to sit with you all on the board and to work together for better of our community. I apologize, I'm not a public speaker. I normally just address people.
All right.
Mahalo.
Thank you so much. I was informed that someone online would like to volunteer. Carrie?
Hi, yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. So, my name is Carrie Inamasu Ken. Um, I am, I would like to serve on the board. Because I see all of our Puna, serving and giving back to our community. And I think it's time for those of us in the younger generations, like myself and younger, to step up and serving our community. I do have experience in serving on boards. I was a volunteer coordinator for one of the Seattle groups when I did live on the mainland. Um, and I also served when I worked at American Savings Bank on their diversity and inclusion board as an ambassador. I have lived down here in Waianae all of my life, and I currently live in Princess Kahanu. I also want to get more involved in the community and see what all of the issues really are that we're all trying to address here. So I think it's important for the younger generation to also step up at this moment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We need a board member to nominate the volunteers. So do I hear any nominations? Okay, Member Corona?
Before we nominate, is it just, are we nominating for one person? One person, one at a time? I nominate Gary Shinsato.
Thank you. Okay, Board Member Myers?
I'd like to nominate Blessing Dela Cruz.
Thank you. Any other, oh, Uncle Paul?
Gentleman that came up, I think his name is Mark Paul.
Thank you. Any other nominations? We get, yes,
I'd like to put Carrie. She said that she's interested. So Carrie Inamasu Ken.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so we have 4 nominees for the 2 positions. How we'll do it is each board member will say 2 names. And right now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 members. Oh, is Mapu there? Oh, oh, sorry, Mapu, are you there? Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, so there's 7 of us, yeah? Okay, so each board member will say 2 names. The nominee 5 votes to be elected. So, okay, Jeffrey.
Okay, again, so for this, say the last name of the 2 individuals that you would like to fill for this first at-large seat. So the last names are Shinsato, Dela Cruz, Kong, and Inamasu Ken. And again, just to remind you, we're saying 2 names. When I call you, please say 2 names. Whoever receives the quorum vote will fill that first seat, and then we'll fill the second one after that. Is everyone on board with that? Okay, give me just 1 second. Board Member Ayo.
Kong and Shinsato.
Board Member Augustin.
Kong and Shinsato.
Board Member Tector online, are you able to unmute? If not, go back around. Okay. Board Member Jeremy Myers.
Dela Cruz and Shinsato.
Member Corona.
Shinsato, and Kong.
Board Member Ed Honohono,
Shin Tato and Kong.
and Board Member Naomi Honohono.
Shinsato and Kong.
Okay, so Board Member Mapuana Tector online, are you able to unmute? I'll send you a request to for you to unmute. If that would work.
I'm sorry, my computer froze. So I am going to select Kong and Shinsato.
Thank you. Okay, with that, both Mark and Shinsato received 6, so they can be at-large vacancies for this evening. For that, we a brief recess. I can give you guys designated papers, and you can join the board for the remainder of the meeting and participate in all board business and voting.
In recess, and we got a request. We are back in session. Okay, so the next order of business is the election of chair. So board members, is there any nominations for chair? We just need a nomination, don't need a second.
Chair.
Oh.
Chair, I have a nomination.
Okay, yes.
I'd like to nominate Malia Augustin for chair.
Oh. Okay. Any other nominations? No? Okay. Well, hearing no other nominations. You good? Okay, good. Okay, so even though there's one nominee, according to the plan, everyone has to say the name of the person that they want as chair. So, okay, Jeffrey, go ahead.
All right, again, so we'll do a roll call vote, and our new board members will get to participate in this discussion and for the rest of the meeting. And same rules apply. Say the last name. So this would, in this case, it would be Augustin. And if she does receive the quorum vote of 5, she will continue the meeting as chair and go through the rest of the agenda. Board Member Ayo.
Augustin.
Board Member Tector. If you can unmute. I don't know if you had gotten the chance to log back in yet. If not, we can circle back around and we'll call you on the phone. Board Member Kong. Shinsato. Board Member Myers.
Augustin.
Board Member Corona.
Augustin.
Ed Hanohano. Board Member Naomi Hanohano.
Augustin.
And Board Member Tector, since you're on the phone.
Okay, I'm sorry. I
It is unanimous. She received the quorum vote. She will resume the rest of the meeting and go through the rest of the agenda as chair of the Nanakuli Neighborhood Board. Thank you.
Thank you.
Meeting is called to order. Thank you, everyone, for your nomination. Next on the agenda is The election of officers that are available as of now, we have treasurer and secretary available. So we will start with the secretary position. Do I have any nominations?
Chair, I'd like to nominate myself for secretary.
Okay, we have a nomination for Board Member Myers. Any other nominations for secretary? Okay. So we will go through the vote.
Again, same rules apply. Please say the last name. In this case, it would be Myers, and she has received the quorum vote of 5. Board Member Ayo. I'll circle around to Board Member Tector again afterwards. Board Member Corona.
Myers.
Board Member Ed Hanohano.
Myers.
Board Member Naomi Hanohano. Chair Augustine.
Myers.
Board Member Myers. Yes, we have to do that. And Board Member Tector. Okay. With that, she did receive the quorum vote. Board Member Jerry Myers will continue the rest of this term as the secretary. Thank you.
Thank you. And our election of officers for treasurer, do I have any nominations? Oh, yes. We have a nomination for Shinsato for treasurer. Any other nominations?
Second.
Okay, so we will go through the vote.
Okay, in this case, it will be, oh, you know what? I just realized that's completely my error on my end. For the last vote, Board Member Kong for Board Member Myers to be secretary. But he didn't vote. I didn't call his name. That's my fault. Yeah. Gotcha. I just wanted to make sure I got you down. And Shin Sato, sorry. Okay, she still received quorum. So in this case, it was Shin Sato voted for nominated for the treasurer position. Board Member Ayo. Board Member Myers. Board Member Corona.
Shinsato.
Board Member Ed Hanohano.
Shintato.
Board Member Naomi Hanohano. Board Member Kong. Chair Augustine.
Shinsato.
And Board Member Shinsato. Board Member Shinsato will take the rest of the term as the board's treasurer. Thank you.
Thank you. So all positions of officers have been filled. We will now move to community concerns. If residents and community,
May I be
oh,
first?
yes, Board Member Corona. If you have community resident concerns, please make your way to the microphone.
Yeah, I just wanted so everybody could see me. David Corona, board member. As you can see, I'm not from the area. I wasn't born and raised in Hawaii, but I feel like I've been accepted in the community. I've been here for over 30 years. Raised my daughter here, retired from the service here, did over 20 years in service. So I really enjoyed being a part of the community. And the one thing that I've been taught by my wife, who was born and raised Nanakuli, Nani Kapono, alum Nanakuli High, was the importance of family. And it's relevant in the community. It's built into it's built into everybody over here. So it's much different here than when I grew up on the mainland. So I had to learn and adapt to it. So what I'm trying to get at is with that mindset, my parents are aging. And I've been away from my parents for about 30 years now. There's been some emergencies that have happened with my parents, and there's nobody there to help them out. So what I've learned is that, you know what, I need to take care of my family now. So I'm resigning from the board. The board members have known about it. It'll be effective upon the completion of my committees tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. I'm doing this because I know there's a good foundation for my wife and her family with the siblings, brothers and sisters, and grandchildren that are here to help take care of her parents. Mine have none, so they just have me. So it's important that I go and spend their twilight years with my parents. It's hard to leave. I don't want to leave, but I know what's been instilled in me. I'm taking back to be part of my parents and my family back there. So I just want to make sure everybody could see me and hear it online and hear it from me up here, and not see the face and on the next meeting. Thank you for everybody. I appreciate everybody coming out, and you always do. And that's what helps build our community. And that's why I'm serving on the board, because of everybody that wants to be a part of the community. It's really important. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Board Member Corona, for serving this community while you were here. And yes, family is always at the front of everything that we do. And the reason why a lot of us here serve on the board is to serve our families. So thank you. Any resident community concerns?
And I do have one community concern I wanted to add to that,
Oh,
but I'm sorry. For the city and the state, you were here earlier for Gary and Erwin. You were here earlier. If you did not hear, you know about the accident that we had here. Common problem. My point is, I believe that the state and the city need to really engage and take control of this immediately. This was an emergency situation that impacted the entire Leeward Coast, not just the unfortunate accident that happened here in Nanakuli. So I would like to know if that can be addressed at the city and state level and have a good response for us at the next meeting. DOT is coming out to the transportation meeting tomorrow. We'll definitely be addressing with that tomorrow at the transportation meeting, which is right here at 7 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Make your way to the mic, please. Address your name.
I'm Austin. I want to bring up to everyone's attention, Bill 64, there's going to be, I guess, a committee hearing, I think, on this coming Thursday at 9 o'clock at the Honolulu Hale in the Fuq City Council. I don't know who's going to conduct this, but the last second hearing that was passed, and concerns that I brought up there, and I don't see the amendments to our concerns. The concerns is group living. It's the way I see it right now. The group living is state. They included state operations, and state is must be licensed, certified, and registered and monitored by the state. There's no language in here on page 20 for Bill 64. I'm concerned about that because the city will have no take into this. This is all state matters inside. Okay. So with that said itself, I remember that the opposition we have of the amount of kauhalis that is operated by the state and coming to the Senate District 22. That's what I'm concerned about. And Waianae and Nanakuli was in opposition of more kauhalis being built on our section. But with this said, if the city bill passes through with the state on page 5 on the country zones and R20, R30, and all the type of different zonings inside here, the key component here is P. I amended it to be C, major conditional use permits, including this. I want the city to have a take into this, because without the city's take into this, and its own sole proprietor will be the state only, the neighborhood board would never be informed of any type of state operations that's happening over here. The neighborhood boards don't get informed, the community don't get informed. And the state has been doing a lot of things all by themselves without informing and being transparent. State is not transparent. Department of Health the public safety office who handle the prisons, the court system, human services, they're not transparent to our neighborhood boards of all the operations that is being brought here. Okay, I brought to our representative Darius Kila's town hall about a operation that's happening in Macau, was never brought to the Waianae Neighborhood Board for collaboration or transparency. So I said to amend this, I didn't see no amendments on the last one for page 5 to change it from P, to eliminate P, the initial here on the key, and to put in C for conditional use permits. And on page 20, it's not only state regulated, I want it to be city
Thank
also
you.
regulated.
Thank you.
That's my concern, major concerns on this.
Thank you. Any other community concerns? And if anyone else has concern, please make your way to the mic.
Aloha. Kalai Sausero. I am concerned about Bill 64. There's a lot of hidden things from the community that's going to be going on. And the community has a right to know. The neighborhood board has a right to know. The people has a right to know, because this is, if you are an agriculture land, that's going to affect you. If you are raising your own chickens on a 20,000 square foot, it's going to affect you. And, you know, if you have aquaponics, because at one point they gave people the option of aquaponics because they had a small living area, that would also be affected. The other thing is, we got to remember, gentrification is when these builders, they come in and build, but they're not thinking about our community. You know, they said affordable housing. Who can afford 600,000? No one can. No one can afford 600,000. And gentrification, at least are business contractors that's coming in. And then a state subs contract, city subs contract. But who helps the people? That's negative impact. While the prices is going up, it's okay for them, but it's not okay for my kupunas. We've been priced out of paradise. They call this paradise. Remember, people, we call it home. I was born and raised here. I was born behind the old Elvin's Drive-In, midwife. My godmother had delivered me. I had seen through these years, over 60 years of changing. I see my kupunas, to this day, they're hurting. So I'm asking the board, we need our councilwomen, we need our reps, our legislatures to be very transparent. And if you folks are a nonprofit or in it for your back pocket, please do your community one favor. Leave, because we do not need someone that accepted envelopes in the back pocket. We need honest, integrity people to help to keep our family back home, in the roots, in the grounds, here at home. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Another concern?
Yeah, would you mind? On Bill 64, also, it's a large instructions on this, this ordinance. It's 200 something pages. And it also includes the agriculture. The setback, the first reading, I had opposed because they had a setback. You can raise the animals 100 feet setback into your property. That's where you can raise the animals. My property is only 130 feet wide. It's impossible. It's impractical and unachievable. I didn't see the amendments had made the changes. So concerning, Bill 64 had arrived from a squash bill earlier from last year, Bill 10. We squashed Bill 10. Bill 64 needs to be squashed. It's good for Kailua, Hawaii Kai. It doesn't set for the west side of Senate District 22. We don't need that. So if our city councilwoman, please squash Bill 64. We don't need it. Objection on that. Thank you.
Thank you. So we will move forward with our presentation. We have Malama Learning Center, the Nanakuli Muli Vai, Pauline Sato, with a presentation for you this evening.
Aloha. Thank you all for this time for me to share a little bit of information about our work at the Mulivai or the estuary right across the street. And I was asked to present at this board. I actually presented many years ago because we started about 9 years ago. So this is kind of an update. So my name is Pauline Sato, and if we can go to the next slide. I'm with the Malama Learning Center. We are a nonprofit organization in our 20th year, and I'm one of the co-founders, so I've been with them since day one. So we're a small nonprofit. We focus on Leeward Oahu. We do Aina-based education, and we do it in a hands-on way. So we grow a lot of plants, and we plant them out in the community in various locations. Next slide, please. So this presentation will focus on the Mulivai. It has different names. One that is kind of well known in the community is Stink Pond. Now, how many of you know it as Stink Pond? Yeah. We're trying to use maybe a different name, even though for some people that might be an affectionate name. For others, it might connote like, don't go there, dirty, dangerous, you know, you're gonna die kind. So we tried to look for the original name, and there are some names that came up like Wazablans, the area, and then Honinivai. But I did some research and also came up with the name Hapai. So we don't know for sure, but right now I'm kind of staying generic and saying the Mulivai. Our goals is to work with the community, especially schools and volunteers, to help make this place a valued resource again. When we first started, there was a lot of rubbish in there. There were mattresses, there was like buckets, because it's downstream. So everything comes from the mountain downstream, and it was really filled with a lot of mud. I'm not saying it's completely different because it still has some of those things, but I think the rubbish has definitely gone down and the water quality has gotten better and the plants have changed. And that's all because of community input. So if we can go to the next slide, I'll briefly talk about why it matters. Mulivai or estuaries are actually nurseries. So they're where the baby fish go. It's a protected area. And in this area, there's a berm, a sand berm. So it's not like completely connected to the ocean unless it breaches, which it does sometimes. But you'll go in there and you'll see a lot of baby fish, mostly tilapia right now, but we also see aholehole. We see some native fishes, even oopu in there. So they're in there and it's a safe area. It's also an important area for water quality because ocean and streams are connected. So if that's super polluted, where our kids are swimming, it's going to be super polluted too. So we're trying to make that connection. And as you know, with climate change, sea level rising, these estuaries are becoming more and more important to protect our communities, our roads. You don't want to build up right to the road because it's going to get flooded. So it's like a buffer zone. And it's also a place to connect Aina with each other. When we first started going there, you know, I see a few kids maybe throwing a fishing pole in there, but very few. Because it was kind of polluted, right? And it's like, oh, you're kind of nuts to be in there. But now we have fishing as an activity and people really enjoy it. Families are doing it together. So it kind of makes me really proud that, you know, these small changes that we've been a part of have resulted in a area that the community cares about again. Next slide, please. So I want to just briefly touch upon some of the changes. So we have tons of pictures, but I, didn't want to include them all. But, the first slide to the left, we had some students. We were working on if you're looking from the ocean on the right side, it was just full of pickleweed. So pickleweed is an invasive plant that was like clogging up the Mulivai. So it was basically choking it out. So we're trying to take it out by hand. It was very, very difficult. We had the Nanakuli High School team, like football team, clear a lot of it out for us. We also had the city and county help with the urban forestry. They trimmed a lot of the kiawe trees because it was really hard to walk in there and kind of dangerous. We also threw in Genki balls. So you might have heard of that in Alawai. They're making these like biodigesters and throwing it in. So we've made that with students and we've thrown in many thousands of balls. And then we've been planting native species that we grow in our nurseries. Next slide, please. So just a few shots. The top is the before, bottom is after, not exactly the same location, but close. And one thing to note with the estuary, it's very dynamic. You know, it depends on the rain, the flood, everything like that. So I'm not saying that it's never going to be muddy again, but the top on the left, top corner left, that's on the left side if you're looking from the beach. So really filled with pickleweed all the way thick. You couldn't really walk in it. And if you're a native bird, it would have been very possible. And then down, then we changed it with the native Akulikuli. So that's a native coastal plant, which is not as tangly. So that was changed. And a lot of the kiawe was cleared. And then that middle picture is looking from the middle, looking up, and you can almost see the whole ahupua'a. The top was after a very heavy rain. So, you know, I call it the mustache. There was a lot of mud. It was really, really not good. Now, that could happen again, but we're really seeing the water quality change, especially with these Genki balls coming in. It was like eating up a lot of the sludge. So you can see the bottom of the stream now. We're just kind of shocked about that, but that's changing. And then on the top right, that was in 2015. So we've been working at this for about 9 years. Really, you can see it kind of choking in with the pickleweed. And then now we've cleared out the middle island. We actually go in, I mean, we go in with our waders and picks and everything. So it's all by hand, no chemicals used, and we've been pulling out. So that's some of the changes. Next slide, please. So that kind of shows invasive species removal is one of the things that we concentrate on. We do have a partnership with the city and county Adopt a Park, so we have officially adopted it, and that's why we can do these things. So volunteers help us pull out the weeds, and also now fishing out the tilapias, which we use to make compost for our plants. So it's full circle. Next slide, please. And then the native plantings, we focus on native coastal plants, pohuihue, we have ilimas, we have other things that we're planting. I know many of you in this room have volunteered, so mahalo. Even Rep Kila, I know you've come to some of our work days, so mahalo for helping out. And it's really changed over time. Next slide. And as I mentioned, I think what's really heartwarming is people coming out with their kids. People, they love to fish. I mean, they're not going to eat the fish, but they just love that. And it's just bamboo poles and maybe some small nets. Just the challenge of it and knowing that it's a wholesome activity. So we have a lot of community come out and help. And even today, there was a bunch of second graders from Waianae. They're doing some education. So next slide, please. So I just want to mahalo the many different groups. We work with the Ahupua'a and Nanakuli Homestead, City and County of Honolulu, Department of Parks and Recreation, Juliana Coral Restoration. We have Alika here. We've done some small work together, but we're looking forward to doing more together with the community, especially connecting the Makai side of it, so the coral. We work with almost all teachers and students from the Leeward Coast. The neighborhood board here has been supportive from the very beginning, so mahalo for that. And also the volunteers of all ages and all backgrounds we accept. So next slide, please. That's my closing slide. I just want to mahalo again, everybody. If anybody wants to volunteer, we're there once a quarter on Saturdays, second Saturdays, but we're actually almost there every week with different groups and volunteers or just with our staff, just trying to make the Aina better. And we do a lot of work up Mauka too. So we really want to show that we have to take care of uplands in order for our Makai areas to be healthy because of all the erosion and such. So we have volunteer opportunities all the way up the top of the mountains, down here, even YNI side by Ka'ala Farm. So that's my presentation. I don't really have any special requests other than your continued support, maybe some help from the Parks and Rec to cut some more of the trees, the kiawe trees that are still quite huge. And yeah, just, you know, we're looking forward to continuing to maintain this site so it's a useful resource for the community. Mahalo.
Mahalo, thank you for that presentation, and mahalo for your community service. You can stay there. We're gonna just open up the floor for any questions from our board members. Board Member Corona.
Hi, great presentation. Thank you. And you know, I paddled for Leeward Kai for years, and I never knew you guys were out there doing that. You know, I know we used to use it to put the kids in there when the weather was bad to hold them there and paddle. You know, practice paddling in there. But you're a nonprofit, correct? So, do you engage with any federal or state agencies to try to get some type of grant money or things like that to help you continue to process this or to
Yes, thank you. So the question was about grant monies. And in fact, our first grant was a federal Environmental Protection Agency grant. Is because of clean water. So, and then we had a NOAA, that's a National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration grant. And then we look for private funding. So we really couldn't do it because we got to pay people and without grant support. So that has been important for us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you. Any other questions from our board members? Any questions from the community? Mahalo for your update and your presentation. I hope you continue to do the work that you're doing and our community continues to support and get involved. So your next Mulivai cleanup is, I believe, going to be in December.
Valerie knows. Yeah, thank you. Valerie's been coming with her kids too. So December 14th, yeah, second Saturday.
Okay, mahalo. Nui.
Mahalo.
So moving to board business, moving board recess from December 2024 to January 2025.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion for us to move it.
Board Member Myers.
Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we move our board recess from December next month to January 2025, which means that the motion is to have our meeting next month and not January.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do I have a second?
Second. Second.
Board Member Tector, second. Okay. We have opening for discussion. Board Member Corona.
I know I won't be on the board, but I know that correct me if I'm wrong, but YNI also recesses in January. And so if they recess in January, then that would mean there'd be 1 month of coverage where there won't be a neighborhood board on the Leeward Coast altogether. Having us recess in December allows the YNI to have theirs. In the event there's something that needs to come up, anybody can get there and voice their comment or concern in December. So I would only caution that if the board does go that direction, that the community is well aware that there won't be any neighborhood board support in the month of January from either district.
Any other discussion? Board Member Myers.
Yes, so I made the motions, and the reason for that is normally, I know historically, we didn't have our meetings in December, and it's during the holidays. But at the same time, January is legislative opening. And So December affords us the opportunity, which we've always kicked ourselves in the foot because something came up and, committees kept moving the ball forward. So we would like to, especially like to have these two resolutions that are here, that we can further elaborate with our legislators in December for these, to advocate for these resolutions to be moved through legislature. So in addition to that, legislature is always the third Wednesday. So our meeting is on Tuesday night. In the past, we've had a hard time getting our legislators here because they're at the state capitol preparing for the following morning. So, and many of us now would like to go to legislative opening now that our previous chair is going to be our senator. So I think by meeting in December, I understand what David is saying, but it's not a matter of you can go to a community neighborhood board in your community because we have different issues that, we passed a resolution here. They didn't do it on that side. And so I'm just saying to further have discussions in December to clarify with our lawmakers what we want them to do in January, that December will afford us that opportunity. So that is the reason why I made the motion. Mahalo.
Thank you. Board Member Ayo.
One of the resolutions we're going to pass tonight, correct? If I'm not mistaken, the one that,
We have it on the agenda, yes.
it's on the agenda, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. That's all I wanted to know.
Any other discussion? Okay, I'm going to call for a voice vote. All in favor to move the recess from December to 2024 to January 2025. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. I call for the roll call.
Okay, so for this, we'll do a roll call vote.
Look through all my papers. I'm so sorry.
Okay, so for this, again, the motion is to move the current board recess of December 2024 to January 2025. Board Member Ayo. Board Member Tector online.
Aye.
Board Member Shinsato. Board Member Kong. Board Member Myers. Board Member Corona.
Abstain.
Board Member Ed Hanohano. This is to move. And Board Member Naomi Hanohano. And Board Member Malia Gusson.
Aye.
Okay, with that roll call vote, the vote did receive the quorum vote of 5, so the board recess will now take place January 2025. The board will be meeting December 2024. Thank you.
Thank you. Board Member Ayo.
It passed. So the 24th is Christmas Eve.
No, the third Tuesday,
Somebody said 24th.
the 17th of December. Nanakuli Ma'ili Neighborhood Board to participate in the 2024 holiday tree display at Kapolei Hale. Entertain a motion. Board Member Myers.
Make the motion for us to participate again in the 2024 holiday tree display at Kapolei Hale.
Any seconds?
I second.
Board Member Corona seconds. Any discussion?
Yeah, I wanted to make a discussion that, Malia, you did a wonderful job with the Christmas, both you and those that have participated, Mapuana, Naomi, David, Chair Samantha had provided the Christmas tree. And I think it was really beautiful that we had representation at Kapolei Hale with the Christmas tree. And so I'm hoping that we can get support again to have the Christmas tree again. And I would again volunteer to assist in decorating. Mahalo.
Board Member Corona.
Yeah, it was pretty cool doing that, seeing everybody down there trying to, do their trees and kind of one up each other and everything, but it was good. But, the one thing that this board has been doing, throughout the year is they've been out in the community more. And I think that's important for the neighborhood board to not just be, steadfast in in their district area, but, where they can be visible elsewhere. That's why I think it's important that we can attend the Waianae boards when we can, or we do our service projects. I mean, we were just down, me and Malia almost got blown away, this last weekend at the night market. The wind was just crazy down there, but, we made it, but we're doing things like that. So I think that it's a good thing that the board, does these outreaches things, to just, know that we are there and, we're participants in our community and elsewhere outside of our community as well. So I think that we should move forward and support it.
Thank you. So decorations and setup has begun, and the display will be opening to the public on November 30th. So we have a very short time frame, and if our board, our committee, our board can commit to that, then I call for a voice vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Okay, any abstentions? The motion passes. The Nanakuli Ma'ili Neighborhood Board will participate in the Kapolei Hale Christmas holiday tree. Approval of September 17th and October 15th video summaries. The minutes.
So move, Chair.
So moved by Board Member Myers,
Second.
second by Corona. All those in favor say aye. All those
Aye.
opposed, say nay. All those who abstain, say nay. Minutes passed for September and October. Board member attendance at community and public meetings from September to October.
Okay, so I'll go down the list that I have. Board Member Ayo,
Meeting at the high
please use your microphone.
town hall meeting, Nanakuli High School, with Representative Keela. And another meeting at the high school. I think it was Malia and I went to I think it was the school council meeting that they had at the school. That was it.
Chair Augustine.
Education Committee, Land and Water Committee, Senator Krabs Education Meeting, Kavaihona Okana'ua Board Governing Meeting, Hawaiian Affairs Committee Meeting, Park and Recreation Committee Meeting, Malama Learning Center, Mulivai Cleanup, the Nanakuli Night Market, Nanakuli Elementary School's Community Council Meeting, Nanakuli High and Intermediate School PTSA Meeting. That's it for September.
Board Member Tector online.
Hawaiian Affairs, PTSA, and that's it.
Thank you. Board Member Kong.
Yes. Oh. You heard that?
Yes.
September and October. Town hall meeting.
That's it.
Yes.
Gotcha. Board Member Shinsato. You can use your microphone, please.
Housing Committee meeting. Uh, Housing Committee meeting. Representative Keela Town Hall meeting. County Cross Town Hall.
That's it. Board Member Myers?
September 3rd, Housing Committee meeting. September 16, Rep Keela Town Hall meeting. September 20th, OHA Board of Trustee meeting or workshop. October 10, OHA Board meeting. October 16, Housing and Transportation Committee meeting. October 17, OHA Oahu Community meeting. October 22nd, Rep Keela Town Hall meeting. October 24th, OHA Board meeting. October 28th, NCO meeting. And October 30th, Interim Senator Crabb Housing Town Hall.
Board Member Corona?
Okay, nothing for September. For October, Representative Keela's Town Hall, Cross Crabs Housing Town Hall, City Council Committee, and I don't remember the name of the committee, but it was the informational briefing regarding the landfill. Waianae Neighborhood Board, Land and Water Committee, and the Transportation Committee.
Board Member Ed Hanahano? And Board Member Naomi Hanahano?
Rep Keela's Town Hall in October.
Thank you. Resolution to support Kuleana coral restoration in Nanakuli, Hawaii.
I move to support the resolution.
Okay. Any second? Second? Any discussion? And
Chair,
I would like to go ahead and read the resolution at this
I
time.
haven't seen the resolution, so
Okay.
thank you.
Resolution to support Kuleana coral restoration in Nanakuli. Whereas Kuleana Coral is a nonprofit organization under Section 501c3 with community-based coral restoration areas located in Poka'ibe, Anaio, Ko'olina, Ke'ehi Airport, and Mauna Lua Bay. Whereas Kuleana Coral Restoration is a group of fishermen, surfers, and ocean advocates working to restore, protect, and monitor Hawaiian coral reefs using modern science and indigenous management techniques. Whereas research is guided by the knowledge of coastal communities and Kuleana to the ocean, where they develop scalable restoration methods unique to Hawaii to sustain what sustains us, the reef. Whereas the coral restoration in Nanakuli will monitor approximately a 400 square foot area with interventions of about 2,000 square feet, with a plan to restore up to 200 large rescued colonies of about 12 module ocean bound between Zubland and Keolana, focusing on emergency repair, ecological resilience, fish habitat, and coastal protection. Whereas in 2023, Kuleana Coral became an organizational member of American Academy of Underwater Sciences, AAUS, and has been implementing those standards of safe diving best practices to support a growing reef restoration community in Hawaii. Whereas workforce development provides training and readiness programs which seek to work with locals in West Oahu, utilizing those best practices standards to train community members into professionals in coral reef restoration and monitoring methods. Whereas all Kuleana coral restoration data and project changes are required to be submitted to the Nanakuli Ma'ili Neighborhood Board Number 36 Land and Water Committee as a quarterly written status report. Be it resolved that the Nanakuli Ma'ili Neighborhood Board 36 submit this resolution of support to City Councilwoman Andrea Tupola, Senator Samantha DeCourt, District Representative Darius Keela, the Department of Hawaiian Homeland's Chairman Cully Watson, and Commissioner Sonoe Marfil. Thank you. So all those in favor?
Just
Oh,
real-
any
real
more
quick.
discussion?
Yeah, just real briefly, this is from the last month's meeting where the presentation was
Yes.
provided where they're going to be doing the coral restoration across from the beach bar, right outside.
Yes,
Mount Elena.
correct. So we had a presentation last month from Alika Garcia with Kuleana Coral, and this is a resolution to support. All those in favor to support the resolution, say aye. All those opposed, say nay. Any abstain? Okay, resolution passes. Thank you. Moving to resolution regarding school resource officer, board member Paul Ayo.
It's a long 4-pager, people, but I'll read it as fast as I can. And if you folks want a discussion, I have passed out the forms or the resolution to the people designated at the end of the resolution, which is Senator DeCourt, Representative Keela, the governor's representative, the mayor's representative, and Tupolo's representative are all present. So, reading from my document, and I speak from being a police officer because that's my expertise of public safety. It's public safety in a high school now, safety in a high school, safety on the street, safety in the community. Because the safety applies to the school that's giving the education to students, faculties, and even the parents. Parents may not know that, but they're getting educated to their own students or their kids. Anyway, I'll read the resolution. Nanakuli Mighty Neighborhood Board 36, the Joint Committee Resolution. It deals with School Resource Officer Program. So if you hear me say SRO, that's what it means, School Resource Officer Program. Whereas the SRO program be initiated and entered into by the following agencies and/or level of government here within the state of Hawaii, the city and county of Honolulu, Mayor Blangiardi, the Honolulu Police Department, Chief of Police, the Department of Education, DOE, the Superintendent of Education, the City Corporation Council, the Deputy Attorney General's Office, State of Hawaii, and specifically the current Leeward Complex Area Superintendent of Waianae High School and Nanakuli High/Intermediate School. And I don't need to explain the next two whereas the SRO program because it's on the sheet of paper. What I want to read now is whereas the DOE shall provide each SRO, whoever the officer is assigned to the school, they shall give the SRO, the police officer, substitute teacher training. It's a combination of the police officer receiving training from DOE as well as the SRO giving training to the staff and administration on the school regarding his safety rules. Okay? Whereas the superintendent of education or his designee shall furnish the chief of police, HPD, or his designee the following articles: campus layouts, evacuation plan procedures for crisis plan, school rules and policies. DOE Chapter 19, that's the chapter that deals specifically with schools and everything regarding school discipline. Faculty listings and Department of Education Administration directory for all designated schools participating in the SRO program, specifically Waianae and Nanakuli High. The information shall be updated annually at the beginning of each school year. The next thing, whereas the SRO, the police officer, shall provide instruction to students and school officials in various activities, including anti-crime, anti-drug, anti-violence programs that they deem necessary. Develop and maintain effective communication and working relationships between law enforcement, students, faculty, administrators, and parents/community. Provide law-related counseling, address issues, problems that arise among the student population in the assigned schools, assist schools in developing their safety, emergency, and threat mitigation programs at assigned schools in partnership with school administrators, create and maintain successful working relationships with different agencies associated with the education and counseling of students, make educational presentations to various school groups and organizations on behalf of the department and its anti-crime, anti-drug, and anti-violence programs, assist school administrators in the enforcement of school code violations by reporting any known violations to the principal or his designee. Any school discipline will strictly be the responsibility of the school principal and his staff or her staff, and not the SRO. The SRO shall investigate criminal activity occurring on their school premises while in session and adhere to policies and procedures regarding Department of Education Chapter 19 offenses, bomb threats, juvenile arrest procedures and policies, search and seizure procedures on the school campus, interviews and interrogation of students, if necessary, with school personnel in accordance with the procedures of DOE and HPD. HPD sexual assault protocol, HPD will be teaching that class, the mandatory reporting of child abuse, neglect, and to properly investigate these type of incidents in accordance with HPD's policies. SROs as employees of HPD shall be subject to the administration, supervision, and control by the Honolulu Police Department general rules, orders, and regulations. The SRO's duty hours, uniform, and equipment shall be dictated by HPD's policies. SROs are authorized to place a secured gun safe if there need be in a school. And I'll explain that later on if anybody needs or has discussions on that. Whereas the liability of Department of Education shall be responsible for damages or injuries by its agents, officers, and employees that work on the school campus. There's a big paragraph here. I don't need to get into all of that. Whereas the liability of the Honolulu Police Department shall be responsible for damages or injury caused by the police officer. Both have liability factors here for the DOE as well as the HPD. Last but not least, be it resolved that the Mayor Langiardi, the County Council of Honolulu, the Honolulu Police Department, Chief Logan, and the administration create 2 SRO positions here in District 8, soon to be District 9, that this strategic SRO program will be community-oriented and mentorship program, as well as long-term vision for the educational system here in the state of Hawaii. And I want to emphasize this part here, although it's not on this document. The island of Maui has this program. The island of Hawaii has this program. They did pass it for them to have it. My question to the mayor back when the mayor had his town hall meeting was that question. How come we don't have it? He didn't answer it. He went around it. That's my explanation. Be further resolved that Nanakuli High and Intermediate School and Waianae High School administrative staff, teachers, and employees embrace and accept the SRO program, that the selection process be conducted both by HPD and the administration staff of the high school and Waianae High School and Nanakuli High School, that this SRO program will be a testament to our commitment to preserving peace, restoring pride, and safeguarding our students in school and our community. Conclusion. One more yet. I'm sorry. That's not on the sheet of paper that you have in front of you. This was added on. Malia came up with something very good. It's part of the resolution. Thank you, Chair. Be it resolved that the Nanakuli Maili Neighborhood Board number 36 submit this resolution of support to the City Councilwoman Andrea Tupola, Senator Samantha DeCourt, District Representative Darius Kila, the Department of Hawaiian Homeland's Chairman Kali Watson, and Commissioner Sanor Marco. These are the people that are in our community that have the say or no say in regards to this program being developed and passing, because we need the legislature to have this on the books. Conclusion. Our Education and Public Safety Committee members submit this resolution for consideration and approval by our Board 36. We urge the board members to join us in this resolution approval that exemplifies our ongoing collaboration, ensuring transparency and community engagement. Collaboration of this resolution by Malia Augustin, Education Chair, Paul Ayo, Health and Public Safety Chair, Mapuana Tector, Nanakuli High School Parent Teacher Association President, and Valerie Manoa, teacher at Kauai Ona School. These are the people that came up with this resolution. And I believe this resolution can be introduced by our legislature next year, 2025, so we can get this thing not rolling, but actively. I might be teary-eyed already now. Sorry, hon. Because I do not want to see kids that may or may not die until we get something done. We don't need to have somebody die in a school or injured in a school before we pass something. We don't need that. We talked about it with Mark. We don't need that. We are on a committee to preserve our Nanakuli Cemetery. In the preservation of that cemetery, I do not want to bury a young juvenile in that cemetery that lives in this valley. That's my goal, and that's Mark's goal. It's made for us, the old folks, to be passed in that cemetery, not the young people. That's the resolution.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to entertain a motion to support the Nanakuli Ma'ili Neighborhood Board Joint Committee Resolution for the School Resource Officer Program.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded. Motion by Myers, seconded by Corona. Any discussion?
Yes, Chair.
Board Member Myers.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to ask our representative and our senator if we have their commitment. If we pass this resolution, will we have their commitment, not necessarily to wait till all SROs in all DOE schools, but to move a budget item that will bring it into our schools, Waianae High School and Nanakuli High School. The rest of the island wants to wait on it. That's their kuleana. But I think what Board Member Corona, Board Member Ayu said, and what had transpired in our education, education and public safety committees, that it is important. In the last 15 months, since we had convened for this term as a neighborhood board, I've been on this board since 2017. But in the last 15 months, I have never seen more parents come to our neighborhood board until this last 15 months, telling us about the problems that they're having at the school. And I also heard them at the town hall, concerned about. And now in the town hall, with your town hall rep, Kila, we also talked about ghost guns. And then also with the situation that happened in Waianae, I know you guys had at Waianae High Town Hall with the students. And I think out of that came that there is an importance that we have SROs, not just students campus security. I think the principals are overworked, the teachers are overworked, and they need someone looking specifically out for public safety. Do we have active shooter training? Is the campus equipped for, where can they escape for active shooter situation should come up? So these are the things that these two SROs that are being proposed, and it's just two more, community, two more staff members on each for now, high school, to take the lead that oversees the student campus security. Also, the student campus security doesn't have a gun, but then the SROs would have the gun. And then I do acknowledge what Board Member Ayu said, that, why is it that Kauai and Maui saw that it was important for their schools, but our Oahu County hasn't taken the lead on something like that? We have a problem with bus funding, and we have a problem with getting bus drivers. But once a student get to the schools, and now by the city bus, we need to protect them. And I just wanted to propose that we add Oahu Island OHA trustee, Kaleakaka, to the list of people that we will be sending in. And Chair, I'd like to acknowledge that she's on virtual in our meeting and has acknowledged that our community is very important to OHA. And so not just DHHL. We have the highest concentration of Native Hawaiians out of all 25 Senate districts. Senate District 22 has the most Native Hawaiians in the entire state. We're located in Senate District 22 because of the amount of Native Hawaiian homelands lots that we have. Representative of families, representative of 5 per household, et cetera, et cetera. So I just wanted to bring up that discussion. Would that amendment be able to be made where we add Oahu Island trustee Kaleakaka?
Yes, with amendment.
Thank you.
David Corona, Board Member Corona.
Yeah, I'd just like to commend Paul. He's been pushing this for quite some time now. He's been pretty vocal in the community about this, and he's been bringing it up here at the board meetings. He's spoken to the legislators about this, and we just I don't want to say we're kicking the can, but I think the attention is there. I think it's needed. And Paul, I just want to say thank you for this. I don't know if our elected officials know this or not, but the Department of Justice has information on there. It's called the COPS program, and I just want to read it from you. Basically, it please go to it. I'm just going to put it for the record. It's COPS, COPS.US.DOJ.gov. So you can go to that for our elected officials, and it's got really good information on school resource officers. And I just want to read just a couple lines out of that site before I continue on here. But SROs are sworn law enforcement officers responsible for safety and crime prevention in schools. The responsibilities of SROs are similar to regular police officers in that they have the ability to make arrests, respond to calls for service, and document incidents that occur within their jurisdiction. And finally, there's a lot of stuff on here, but my final comment on this says, beyond law enforcement, SROs also serve as educators, emergency managers, mentors. So I just encourage you to look at this website. It's a federal website. There's grants available on there. I think we have 2 Congress representatives in Congress, 2 senators. This is a federal thing. Money can come back to us if the state or the state is looking for money to support this. Then I think that money is there. We were able to get a lifeguard stand down there at Black Rocks, or I'm sorry, Tracks, and that took about a year, I think, a year and a half. Was it about a year and a half, 2 years when we started really pushing for it? So, and Paul's been pushing this for quite a while now, so I don't think it's that hard to do. Let's be the forefront in the community here. Let's be the ones that the people of the island of Oahu can come back and say, this was a successful program. It worked in Nanakuli. It worked in Waianae. Let's employ it elsewhere. But please, Let's use us as the area to get this done and show that it can be a successful program. And that's all I ask. Thank you.
Thank you. So I will take a voice vote on the support for the school resource officer resolution with amendments to include the Oahu Island OHA trustee Kalei. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say nay. Any abstain? The resolution passes for school resource officer. Thank you. So moving to officials' monthly reports.
Chair?
Oh, yes.
I just
Board
have
Member Ayo.
one last thing. I think we all know what Malama Pono means. Malama Pono. My Malama Pono is this. Mothers and law enforcement actively mentoring adolescents. That's the Malama side. The Pono side. Positive outreach, Nanakuli, Oahu. That's all. That's my Pono.
Thank you. Malama Pona, we're going to take a brief recess to get our Wi-Fi reset. Thank you. So we're going to move on with the officials' monthly reports. We have Governor Josh Green's representative, Gary Yamashiro. Sorry.
Thank you. Gary Yamashroya, here on behalf of the Governor's Administration. I have 3 follow-up items that were brought up at the last meeting. One of them was the request from various parties regarding the State of Hawaii Planning and Development Agency regarding the Certificate of Need program. So it took pretty much all month to kind of coordinate, but we do have a commitment from Dr. Jack Lewin, who is the administrator for the State of Hawaii Planning and Development Agency, and he is going to attend along, I believe, with Paula Serio, who's the chief of the OHCA Public Health Program Manager, to the House and Zoning Committee meeting tomorrow or Thursday? Tomorrow. So he has committed to that. So hopefully he'll be able to explain the certificate of need process. The second thing was Board Member Myers had brought up information about a quitclaim deed, and I was able to get a copy from DLNR, the information for the request and why the quitclaim was requested. And apparently what they're going to use, there's going to be a development around that area, but the quitclaim is for property that's going to be used for roads. And in the information, it specifically says that there is no other suitable use for it other than a road. So it will be a road to help, I guess, help with the egress and ingress of the development. Also, there was a coconut rhinoceros beetle presentation and the issue of grants had come up. So I reached out to the Department of Agriculture, and they said they're actually working on a fact sheet for neighborhood boards. So they're going to get that out. And also on, I think it was November 4th, they released a grant for CRB they told me eradication is not possible at this point. They're just too infested with it. So they're requesting proposals from contractors to that specialize in trimming, removal, hauling, and proper disposing of coconut trees so that they can try to address some of the trees that have been infested. So there's a $1,100,000 RFP that was issued. 600,000 of it is dedicated to Oahu. The remainder is dedicated to the neighbor islands. And they're looking for licensed contractors. That RFP closes on November 21st, which is a couple days from now. And then I guess they'll see who the bidders are or the offers of the proposals, and then they'll start working on it, addressing that. So that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board? Board Member Myers?
Mahalo, Gary. Regarding the CRB, can you email to us that information about the grant and the RFP? I wanted to look into that RFP to see if they would support local schools that may give statistics, right? Because that's what the Kikis are doing. So if they would either take the statistics that they're getting from their study, or they would support them so that they can gather the statistics of what's happening in our Ahupua'a.
Absolutely. I'll send you the link, but just for everybody's knowledge, there's a public procurement website where you can look up every RFP or request for bid that's been issued by every state department. And you could search it by subject matter but I will send you the link for the CRB one.
Mahalo.
Any questions from the community?
I got one.
Oh, sorry, Board Member Corona.
Gary, you might have better luck at reaching DOH than I do, but they haven't provided any of their briefing for the committee tomorrow. So we're kind of going into a blind. If you would, I appreciate all your help with this. I know it was a challenge. It's always a challenge. So this time I'm glad that they committed. I appreciate all the hard work you did on this and acting as the liaison. But I would like to have a copy of that brief. The committee's tomorrow night. I don't have the brief yet. I haven't had a chance to be able to distribute it to the other committee members to have a chance to look at it. It's just an informational briefing, but it would be good to have that ahead of time so we can, front load any questions we may have.
Okay.
I had asked for that in all my emails.
Yeah.
But it's been kind of crickets since they committed. So I'm still crossing fingers that they're showing up tomorrow night.
Yeah.
That's something you're going to hear about it.
So I know that the State of Hawaii Planning and Development Agency has committed. That's Dr. Lewin. But they are separate from DOH, and the DOH has, I don't think they haven't committed to coming.
Right. Well, I'm saying DOH because they fall under DOH by the header on their Department of Hawaii.
Yeah.
So they fall under DOH in a sense. So that's why I say DOH. But regardless, Dr. Lewig, he hasn't provided. I'm sure he's very busy, but
Okay.
whoever his staff is, that they can email that to me so I can get it out to the other committee members. Be appreciative. And
Yeah.
that way I can also have it ready to load up for the
I'll
presentation.
try to do that tomorrow
Appreciate it.
morning.
Thank you. Community?
I'm all set. Gary, thank you very much for trying to be in the Oreo cookie in between the State Department of Health. Their email is DOH. So I don't know why they can't say they're not DOH when their email is DOH. I got one question was for Chair Jermaine Myers. Did you ask a question about, was there a measurement of type of group living to the governor's rep? Was any measurement was requested? Did you receive any kind of measurements of how much on the Senate District 22 there is? I think I heard that. Kind of, can you answer the question?
No, so Governor's Rep Gary, last month I had asked Senator Crabb to get the list of group living homes in Senate District 22. And he said that he would give it to me at the town hall, but he never did. So can I ask you to get that to us? I think you heard the conversation that, it is not covered by HIPAA, as he alluded at the beginning of his report. And HUD, so you can get the information. It's supposed to be public information. If you can bring it next month so that we can use it through the legislature next year. All the group living homes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Gary, concerning the requisition that Board Member Jermaine Myers made to our senator, that it wasn't provided. It consists of basically, you may have to seek with his other representative, state officials, state, not city, state, Department of Health, the Circuit Court, Public Safety, because they have their jail diversion program, IHS, Human Services as well too. All state operations. And apparently Crab couldn't get this information, appointed Senator Crab. So,
I'll try. That's all I
yeah.
can do.
That's where the Senate, that's where the state operation lies.
Yeah. And I think maybe I will try to start doing it with board member Myers. I think I just need to clarify what you mean by group home.
Okay, I'll
So-
email you when,
Okay, sounds
tomorrow
good.
morning.
Yeah, if you could just like specifically what you're asking for, because then it's gonna just be this back and forth.
I'll
back
just
and forth,
copy and
back and
paste what I sent to Senator Kraft to you.
forth. Okay, perfect.
Sounds
Thank
good?
you.
Thank you.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Oh, and I just want to explain, so the way, I think I explained this at the last meeting. The way it works is an attached agency is not part of that agency. So they have for example, the Department of Health has no authority over that agency. They only provide administrative support. So the reason why DOH is in their email is because DOH is the one that provides them with the email. But it is not, they are not a Department of Health agency. If that makes sense.
No, it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense because in the HRS, it does state that it's for administrative purposes, is under the Department of Health
Administrative purposes,
for
meaning
administrative purposes.
human resources
But-
and like computers and budget and things like that.
But when I look at the HRS, it says that the DOH Finkley that's under his purview in Kuliana. So, for example, administrative, so I guess what we're, the rough patch is, we know that HPD, they have the commission, right? So we have the police commission. We know, so they're not administrative, they oversight, right? So same thing with the state. We have, what is for the state that we have? Again, for Board of Health, they have the commission. So now there is the commission that oversees the CUP, the conditional use permit, and it does state in the HRS that it's for administrative purposes, but nevertheless, what is over their purview is under Department of Health. So the confusion is administrative for budget, but who oversees what they're doing? Because the Kuliana does come under Department of Health.
It would be the administrator. Well, the administrator is the person who kind of runs it, but I'll give you another example. There's something called the Law Enforcement Standards Board. They are administratively attached to the Department of the Attorney General, but the Attorney General does not have any authority over that board. And that board makes the decisions such as whether to decertify police officers or to certify police officers. But the Attorney General can't go to them and say, you need to certify this officer, you need to decertify this officer. The board is independent and they make that decision on their own.
Okay, good example, because I know how it was under ag as far as the previous enforcement or investigation, but then when the HRS, they had moved it out to its own. So it's not-
So the Law Enforcement Standards Board gets their emails, their phone lines, they're in the budget for the Attorney General, but the Attorney General does not have authority over them.
okay, mahalo.
Our Representative Darsky at your town hall. That's why I put it in the hands of Representative Nadine Nakamura. Audit the state budget on the Health Department Committee on this type of operations. That's why I asked for an audit on the budget.
Thank you. Please state your name.
Aloha, Kalei Salcedo. You're trying to separate the state agency, different state agency. Hawaii Cares comes under the governor. And you switch it around, Care Hawaii comes under the governor's jurisdiction. The community is concerned about all this operation that's happening. Majority of this operation is state operated. Okay, when a state operated, now you folks subcontract. Okay, subcontract your operations to outside different nonprofit organizations. So what we are asking for, I'm going to clarify that, not the personal information of this nonprofit or these drug addiction, individual, mental health individual. We want clarification of the operation. And it's not a HIPAA law. It's a right that the community needs to know and wants to know. We don't want the hindering, the peekaboo, hide seat, because this is all government state operation that subcontract, whether it is to nonprofit organizations. Okay, so that's what we want. So we don't want excuses. We just want, to know how much is in our districts, the whole district, 22, because we're the one who's negative impact. We live in this district. Each of us have to see what's going on our coastline. Okay, there's only one way in, one way out. But our safety is being compromised. The whole community is being compromised with too much of this nonprofit, drug addiction, mental health. If the caregiver do not care for them, and they call 911, 911 do not know the background or the age for, who's going to handle it. They were special police officer. The state needs to be responsible who they subcontracting to and hold the caregivers responsible. That's their client. If they're holding them, they're getting the money, they should be responsible.
Thank you.
That's all I have to say.
Okay, thanks. I wasn't trying to hide anything. I was just, or try to say that I agree with you. We're all the state. And to every person on the street, the state is the state. But we got into a discussion about whether the Department of Health and whether they can force or what they can have somebody show up that's not technically part of their agency. Contractors, on the other hand, you're right. Contractors are contracted by a department. So they have a contract with that contractor to be responsible. So they do have authority for those people. Okay, that's a different situation. But I just wanted to clarify, I'm not trying to double speak or I wanted to explain the relationship between an attached administrative agency and whether it's a part of it.
Thank you. So, moving on, anything else, Gary? Okay. So thank you very much. Moving on with Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative, Aaron Kawata.
Good evening, Chair and members and everyone in the audience. Erwin Kawata, serving as the mayor's representative. For this month, the mayor's newsletter contains several articles. One has to do with more information on the proposed raise or sewer fee rates. Also a story on open ocean rescue featuring an Oahu student, athlete, and city first responders. For last month, there were several questions, 4 questions. First on H-Power. What is the status of H-Power and where does the ash being taken? H-Power continues to operate. There's 3 boilers there and the ash from that facility is currently disposed of at the Waimanalo Gulf Sanitary Landfill. There was a question on speeding in the community, looking for speed humps installed along MacArthur Street. Department of Transportation will be commencing a Safe Streets walkway project. And that project includes looking at speeding issues as well as MacArthur Street is one of the roadways being studied as part of that work. Vegetation clearing. Can the vegetation be cleared at Canoe Holly at the Kalanianiole Beach Park? Department of Parks and Recreation is looking at the area and will determine whether a contract should be engaged to clear the area up. Finally, trash accumulation at our beaches. Department of Parks and Recreation has some equipment troubles with respect to not availability of the refuse trucks. So they are getting additional resources from other districts as well as have a contract with DOT to schedule refuse pickup on Thursdays. Finally, Department of Parks and Recreation actually issued a news release last week, Thursday. This is brand new. They are working with Councilmember Tupola to close a northern section of the Ulehava Beach Park from Ulehava Stream up until just past Prince Kahanu Avenue between Thursday, November 21st at 10 p.m. until Saturday, November 30th at 5 a.m. During that time, they're going to be doing cleanup. City crews will be doing cleanup in that area, and that everyone is invited to join the effort on Saturday, November 23rd from 7:30 to 12 noon. And that's my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Erwin from the board? Board Member Corona.
Yeah, Erwin, just real quick, if even though I'll probably listen in next month, but I won't be here. But and I reached out to Department of Planning and Permitting, and my question to them was basically, is the state exempt from be required to submit a request for demolitions of buildings through the DPP? And this is when I reached out. Basically, the state demoed 2 buildings on Farrington Highway, on their property, but there's no building permit on file for them to do that. And the reason why I'm concerned about that was because that was the site of one of the Kahale locations that was being proposed, but more so, the homes were built back in 1955 and 1938, I think, which tells me there might be lead, there might be asbestos, there might be something in the material. So if there was no building permit filed, then that tells me that there was no work done to determine.
Mitigate the lead.
Yeah. So I just want to know, is the state allowed to just demo a building without a permit? And if they did demo the property, did they do the necessary mitigations for the material before they took it to PVT? Because they're not accepting asbestos, they're not accepting lead materials right now that I'm aware of. Thank you.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you.
The TMK is 8-7-001-029. That's the TMK.
Okay, I'll do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Questions from the community? Approach the mic, please.
Hello, Aaron. Is it possible, I know it may be last minute, but the Nanakuli Planning Committee has a meeting tomorrow night and transportation, but more so at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Is it possible to get an observer from the DPP department to come to that 8 o'clock meeting and observer for the mayor from the DPP? Can you ask Donna Pune if she can send someone there? I think that would be a good reference to look over what's going on, how the state is impacting the city zoning areas. Because everything, something go wrong in the city or the state, the zoning area, that they always pick on Donna Puna. So can you send one observer to the committee if possible? The planning, Mr. Corona?
I have a housing zoning committee tomorrow night right here. But there's nothing on the agenda about that, so we can't really discuss it unless there's community comment concern
It has to
during
be.
that time. But
Good as an observer. That's all I
yeah,
observe.
sure, observing, sure. But there's a committee meeting tomorrow night here at Nanakuli Library. One starting at 7 p.m. and then followed by the next committee starting about 7:45, 8 o'clock.
I don't want to step on toes, but I think it would be kind of beneficial because DPP is always getting picked on.
I've tried to get her to come out and do something like that so we could be informed about how processes work within the DPP, et cetera. And that has never come to fruition. I've tried numerous
Everybody can
times.
make it happen. Can you make it happen, already?
Well, DPP actually has 2 deputy directors over there. Yeah, they just recently filled those positions, so I'll email one of them. He used to work at Board of Water Supply, so I'll email him and see what he says.
Thank you. So moving on to Board of Water Supply. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So for Board of Water Supply, there were 2 main breaks on October 5th and 10th at Mohihi Street and Mamo Ali'i Place respectively. Both were 8-inch main breaks. We recently had a main break this past Friday on November 15th. It was on Farrington Highway. And it was between Ho'okele and Maipala'oa Road in Nanakuli. The repair actually was completed early Saturday morning, November 16th. The break actually did occur in front of Representative Kila's residence. So apologies for that. We are working with the representative to kind of repair some of the damage to the property. So apologies for that. And that's all I have for the report.
Thank you. Any questions for Erwin for Board of Water Supply? None? Thank you very much, Erwin.
Thank you.
So we have Councilmember Andrea Tupola. And we have Kika, her office.
Good oh, it's not morning. Oh my gosh. Good evening. Oh my gosh. I'm ready for the morning, guys. Good evening, Chair and board members and new board members. Congratulations. I'm Kika Sapeni, Councilmember Tupola's Community Case Manager. I have 2 things. I hope the board had got the email about a bill, which is Bill 62. This bill was introduced on November 8th. It's exemption for veterans ages 65 and older to their registration. And then resolution 2024-275, I believe. This is partnering with Rep. Kila and the legislative with gangs, related to gangs or crimes and gangs. This actually was adopted today in the committee. So further notice will be, and we'll keep you guys in the loop. Our cleanup that Erin mentioned is on Friday, the 23rd, and we hope that everyone, actually Saturday, sorry, Saturday, the 23rd, 7:30 a.m. sharp. I just wanted to give a backstory. So the area that's going to be closed, and the reason why it's closed in that small area is because I hope you guys see that they're all in the sand. So you can't see them out on the streets, but it's a huge area. In that small area right there is literally almost 50 to 60 people. They've been coming to our R3 program, and a lot of them either refuse help or they're just lagging. So when people ask, like, where are they gonna go? That was up to them. So they had the choice from the beginning of August till literally this week is the last week of our R3 program. Kealoha West has been a big help to us as well, and other agencies, but they have the choice. We also visited US Vets here in Waianae. They have 30 openings there, and they are welcoming people to come, but it's the people that have to want to come. So in R3, we engage with them and find the middleman between the case managers and the shelters. And if anybody you guys know, please just reach out to us because we are willing to work with them directly and find them the resources they need. But that's where we're at with the cleanup, and we're moving down the coast. So that's our last cleanup for this year. We're gonna come back in February and come hard towards the west side, keep going. So we're working. Nanakuli looks beautiful from Deep Boats to Ulehava, and we hope that we can continue to beautify the area. We also want to thank the community, because without the community, we wouldn't be able to be out there to clean the areas. So, yeah.
Thank you very much for your report. Any questions from the board? Board Member Myers?
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Kika, for your report. Good evening. Just kidding, just kidding. I have a couple questions for Councilmember Tupola. So can she come to our housing committee meeting tomorrow night here in the Nanakuli Library? Because considering that Bill 64 may be coming up on the full board, The agenda item that we have is the, wait, informational briefing presented by Mr. John Lewin, State of Hawaii Planning and Development Agency, SHPDA, regarding the Certificate of Need, CON, program to include the department's health services and facilities plan. And so if someone can come from Councilmember Tupola's office to the meeting, tomorrow night's committee meeting, because the discussion will include how the SHPDA and their CON program, how it could potentially affect Bill 64 and why we need the state to have oversight with the city, by the city, through the conditional use program permit. And so if that's possible, and if you can email us so we know if you're coming tomorrow evening, that part of the meeting starts at 8 p.m. and it's from 8 to 9 here in the Nanakuli Library in this room. The other thing that I wanted to need to ask Councilmember Tupola is, earlier we were talking about that accident with HPD. So can Councilmember tell us the current memorandum of understanding with the city? I know I had asked Mayor, I don't think, I can't remember who to get I asked HPD if they could get the memorandum of understanding that they spoke about regarding the WCEAR. So if we can get that so that, and if we can work with Councilmember Tupola's office to update it so that we could include, one of the things I'd like her to be sensitive about is, you know, we get transportation from Nanakuli to Waianae Comprehensive, many of our kupunas. They also use coral transportation, black coral transportation to get from Nanakuli to Waianae. Now imagine if they're on there and they're stuck in traffic and they got to use the restroom. All those kinds of stuff that happens to our kupuna that are, you know, wheelchair bound, and they're on these vehicles that when they get stuck and we don't have another way of getting them out of the Waianae Coast off of Farrington back to their homes, you know, then we have issues. Is there like a contingency? Working with Waianae Com to say, hey, you know, pull off and have them go to use the restroom at a park or something. There's got to be some way that we can shorten the time that the gates get from the time that the accident happened to the time the gates get opened up. And that it shouldn't be just limited to certain things. It should be when there's a 4-car accident and before we even determine that somebody had passed away, that it's already, it's a black backing up along the Waianae Coast. So I'm sorry if I sounded confusing, but if those two items, mahalo. Sure.
Thank you, Board Member Corona.
Did anybody from the office attend the environmental meeting on Monday regarding the, I wasn't able to.
The committee?
About the environmental raising the sewer rates?
Yes, they did.
They
Yes.
did. So
When we,
can you give a brief overview of that? And the reason why I'm doing that is because I appreciate you. I've been showing your attachment that was sent out from our office today saying, and just for everybody here, if you hadn't, I don't know how we can get it out to the rest of the community because they're going to be well aware of their sewer rates, but the proposal that by within the time period they want to raise their rates within 10 years, starting with the next rate increase of next year, by the time they're done, your water bill will have over doubled, your sewer bill doubled. So the basic rate right now, without you flushing the toilet or using any water or anything, is $110.89 a month for those that are having to pay it. When they get completion of their increases, just for the basic service without you using any water is $248.53 a month. And then you add the water usage on top of that, which is 20% of your water bill, of your water usage is added onto that as well. So you're going to be paying over $250 just for sewer, not including your water bill. So I just like to know I wish I could have been there. Can you give a little bit of feedback or from somebody that was there? Was it positive, negative? I mean, I heard they're going to have more meetings now or more outreaches. So I assume this is not the last we're going to hear about it, but Can you
Yeah,
give us?
I can't give you that because our policy director actually sat in that meeting with Andrea. But if you guys do need brief, then she can share that, or I can come to the next meeting and share, or Andrea will possibly be here, but we can share that in the next meeting possibly, but I didn't sit directly in that meeting.
Thank you. Any further questions from the board? We open it to community.
Aloha. Thank you, Kika. Again, second reading for Bill 64 has been passed, but didn't say it passed with amendments. So that what I testified to, I don't think had got incorporated into any type of amendments. And I need Andrea to support our area into this area because the amendments was to, for agriculture, the distance between my neighbor's property has to be set back 100 feet. That's unachievable. That has to be lined out, deleted, amended and lined out. And secondly, the group living one, the group living on page 20. This is all state operation. We need the city under the conditional use permit major to be in here on page 20 under what is section 21-5.50-2 on the group living. And also on page 5 that it's permitted for all this from country to our zones for even the state to have this group living permitted. It should be changed to C, conditional use major. This has to be in there because they're using HUD fundings. And by the way, Senator Mazie just acquired a grant for $62 million for a drug-free community. $62 million grants. So a lot of these nonprofit organizations is going to jump into this. And we have no measurement of the group living that we have in the Senate District 22. So Bill 64 is going to parallel and work together with state and allowing the state to grossly mismanage what's happening in Senate District 22. We need to oppose it because my amendments have not gone in that I asked for. Okay, so we need to oppose and object to Bill 64 like we objected and protested against Bill 10. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kika.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Senator-elect Samantha D. Court.
Hi. Oh my gosh, I'm still in a very surreal moment, so don't mind me if I kind of seem absent. I'm just kind of taking everything in. But aloha mai kako, Samantha D. Court, State Senator-elect, right? District 22. Okay, I'm still getting used to just saying that, so just give me some time as I process everything. But yeah, so I had So I just kind of had drafted just a really quick rundown of where we're at for right now. So as I'm in my first neighborhood board meeting, I just wanted to first and foremost thank this board for really helping me to develop me and equip me. You know, being a part of the neighborhood board it takes a lot of commitment, but it takes mostly your care and concern about our residents here. Knowing the process of how to get things done is very exhausting at times. So it does take that consistent commitment to be able to get our community the resources. So, you know, this is not a paid position, and this is not a popular position. It's not a glamorous position. This really is something that has to come out of love and care for our community. So I just want to mahalo the board. Before I came on the neighborhood board, I didn't know sunshine law. I didn't know Robert's rules. I didn't know any of that. I didn't know anything, you know, but, you know, I just jumped in and I just like allowed all of you here to teach me and to help me and to guide me and to mentor me. And for that, this win goes to you also because of your patience with me and your ability to really take the time to help to teach me. And I would say that that doesn't stop. In my new role, I still am expecting the guidance and the mentorship and you know, just the advice and all those other kinds of things, because I want to make sure to keep myself with my ear very close to the ground. There's a statement that I've heard a few people say that, the Senate position, isn't very hands-on because it's over like such a larger population. And that's really where the district representatives come in. They have a smaller population of constituents, so they're a little bit more hands-on. I really want to get rid of that narrative and that stereotype because I believe that that's the individual itself. I understand I can't be everywhere all the time and everything to everyone, but I really want to keep that personable touch with our residents here, especially with the neighborhood board, because this is the only forum that our community has to come to that provides us access to executive branch, legislative branch, city, state, federal, and all these kinds of things. So I'm going to be doing my best in my platform to bring more of our residents here. But with that, so thank you. I do want to introduce my staff. I've been so blessed with great people around me, and it's started here. But the people that I was very intentional to bring into the office are people that have roots here. They're grounded here. The Waianae Coast is very special. And if there's one thing that I can say that separates the Waianae Coast from any other part of the island is its pride in its community and its love and attention that it addresses for aloha. And so I feel very honored to be hanai'd by the Waianae Coast. And I will say that I will definitely give it my best and give it my all as I have been doing. So with that, I want to introduce my staff. First, I'm going to go down to my left. Right there is Nia Tatofi. She is my legislative aide. She has been with the Hawaii State Legislature since 2017. No, 2021. 2020. And so she comes with a really good policy knowledge. She understands the process. She types faster than I can talk, which is like amazing because I can talk really fast. And not only that, but she definitely comes from a good family, and she just in herself really is passionate and caring for the community. So I'm thankful to have her. Bronson Myers, who is Waianae Valley Homestead over there. Originally Nanakuli, so he has very deep roots that go throughout this entire coastline. He always tells me, well, we're the Myers that moved to Waianae Valley. So that's how he describes himself. Oh, we're the ones that moved from to Waianae Valley. So I'm very blessed and honored to have him. And then also our newly elected chair of the Nanakuli Ma'ili Neighborhood Board, Malia Augustin, is my office manager. And I'm very blessed to have her. She comes with wisdom, she comes with mana'o, but she also always comes with aloha and with pono at the forefront of everything. Her family, she comes from a generational family of ho'oponopono, and that's very important getting into this line of work, that we continue to collaborate with everybody, whether we agree or disagree. And so she's a good balance to my hyperness. So just her tone alone is very good. And then also I did want to share that we have been assigned committees. So I was very blessed to be on 5 committees this upcoming session. The first one is Hawaiian Affairs, which was very important for us to be able to have a voice coming from the largest Native Hawaiian homestead population. We're coming up on a big session where I believe DHHL might be circling back to ask us for some more money. So we'll be able to just kind of, just have a voice at the table in that discussion. And then also lower education, which is very important. It's our education system from kindergarten all the way up through high school. I believe in my ability to work collaboratively with department agencies. We'll be able to get some resources for our schools. Public safety, which is very important. I am very intentional, and I've been sounding an alarm on the crime that's been happening here on the Waianae Coast. So with my seat in the state Senate, I'll be able to leverage that seat and be able to get us some resources here on the Waianae Coast. One of my first meetings I told my team is I need to meet with public safety. So I have been collaborating with them on some things that we can bring, some short-term goals and some long-term goals. Short-term goals is continuing to keep the sheriffs in this area so that we can have more visible presence, more enforcement over here. And then at long-term, I'm working with them to have a substation out here on the Waianae Coast. I don't know where, but any reason that we can get to keep law enforcement on this side is a good thing. So I want to make sure to make that a priority and to keep kind of, pushing them along on that. And then I guess a midterm goal would be, we're talking about providing Waianae High School and Nanakuli High School with possibly a Department of Law Enforcement officer. So we are working on that in that effort as well. And then my next committee is water and land. So we have a lot of issues on pertaining to our water rights and then also to our land. Agricultural crime has been rampant on our coast. And so I'm going to be using the two entities of Department of Law Enforcement and Water and Land to bring them together so we can provide just better enforcement to the ag crimes that are happening on our coastline. Was that all the committee? Oh my gosh, how can I forget? Transportation. So, and needs no explanation. I am thankful, though, to be partnered with Representative Kila, who is also on the Transportation Committee in the House of Representatives. I mean, he's already been able to provide just the resources on the Nanakuli Maili side. And this, I say this as a compliment to Representative Kila and his great work. I told my team, I'm not worried about Nanakuli Maili, they get them. Representative Kila, he get them, and so I'm very honored to be able to come alongside him and support our efforts in any way that I can through whatever committees that I'm on, yeah. So other than that, I think that's it. Is that it? Am I done? Okay.
Thank
I
you.
think that's it. Yeah. Thank
Any
you so
questions
much.
from the board for Senator-elect Secord?
God, that sounds so wild. Doesn't that sound wild?
Board Member Hano.
Hi, Sam.
Hi.
I mean, based on my Friday's text to you that morning, I was stuck on Parquet Road too. It was not fun. Took me an hour from the Camp Road, Mailili, to Hakimo. Took me an hour. And then we get to Hakimo, they already closed down Parquet. That's another issue. Sorry about that. But I guess, yeah, my real question is, I know DOT been talking about taking over Parquet. Do they have a time frame?
Yeah, so I'll let Representative Kila weigh in more on that. But from what I do understand, they're still on track. But as far as the dates, I'm gonna have Representative Kila share about that. But yeah, no, we were all caught up and it was so frustrating. It's the most frustrating thing. But yeah, okay.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Board Member Myers.
Thank you. I hope that when we had SR 30, that was Senator Maili Shimabukuro, that resolution, if that can also translate over to your administration, during your tenure, that we advocate for parity amongst all the Senate districts regarding group living homes, clean and sober, et cetera, et cetera. And as our neighborhood board had passed that, we would like parity. This is the Aloha state. And it shouldn't be just where Hawaiians live should have aloha. Aloha for the homeless, aloha for, the community, aloha as far as with the trash. Every district should extend aloha to those that are in need. And clean and sober homes should be in all Senate districts. There should be parity. And Oahu, I think, has 17 Senate districts on Oahu. And so, there's total 25. And so I really feel that if that can be where your voice is, and it covers, public safety, it covers transportation, all those things, because we're so limited in resources. And I think that Senate resolution is something that is stuck in my head. And so I'm hoping that you can pick up that mantle with that. Mahalo.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll send it to my team and then we'll draft it up and then just make sure that we have the right language and verbiage before we submit it. So yeah, absolutely. Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board? Oh, Board Member Ayo.
First of all, congratulations. You can check my vote. I voted for you.
Whether you voted for me or not, I'm still here to serve you, but thank you. I'm gonna put you at the top of the pile.
I could
I'm
not,
just joking.
I could not hold a sign for you because I was holding sign for someone else from your party.
Wow.
Julie Reyes Oda,
Yeah.
teacher from Nanakuli High School, made.
Yep.
I wanted her to make it, but she's just another person, just like you, committed to doing the best thing for Nanakuli, but she doesn't live in Nanakuli. So that's why I supported her, because she's gonna have to work with him and you.
Yep.
So that's why I was campaigning for her in a different district, just to let you know. Aloha. Thank you.
Great.
Congratulations.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you very
And
much.
questions from the community?
I hung your flags on my properties, major flags. So anyway, I'm going to bring it to your attention, but more so to your office team. Wakaha Valley is coming up with a big development, 240 something acres. There's no project plan, major plan that was laid out or is provided. It was only provided in the newspaper, not before the Waianae Neighborhood Board either. But what we need, transportation side, is an emergency access from Keeley Drive to go eastward, but going back up the Canoe House, a bypass road, somehow, some way, because the ocean line is coming up. And Fairton Highway is going to be in big turmoil if there's a big storm, and we have no secondary to go from in that area. But in that area is 200 from Teos all the way to the pumping station above the towers and all around in the area. And there, in 200 acres of that is going to be housing, could be group living. Question, because there's no master plan. Like Kapolei has, we have nothing in Senate District 22. And yes, we have a great senator and we're going to support you. We're going to provide testimony when you need testimony at the state capitol to support whatever you do to support you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nia, did you get that, Nia? Okay,
Uh-huh.
thanks.
Congratulations on your position. Thank you very much. Representative Darius Keela.
Hello, board. I do want to extend my congratulations to our new senator, the new Waianae rep. I do want to thank the interim Senator Crosscrab for filling that space. I want to thank Cedric for his service. We continue to do the work. Congratulations to our new board members as well. For folks who don't know, they did start on the board, and I know, and I consistently remind many members how you folks do a lot of work. And I appreciate that and being alongside you folks. So Ash, well, from October till now, I just want to highlight some dates that were occurring in the last couple of weeks. October 18th was Coffee with a Cop at the Nanakuli McDonald's. Some of you folks were there. Great meeting, discussing a lot of things that were happening. And right after that was the reopening of Wendy's here at the Nanakuli Village Center. I do want to extend a huge mahalo to Kari Foods for being a great partner in that. And if you folks didn't know, the final amount of money that was raised and donated to the family was $21,118. And all of that went to help celebration of life costs. So huge mahalo again to Kari Foods for going out of the way to do that. That evening, we hosted Waianae High School at Nanakuli High School for the homecoming game. I take a lot of pride in sharing that the staff and Principal U. Darby reported that there were no incidents. And I think they took the extra time. So I do want to acknowledge all the volunteers and the admin for putting forth a really safe event. On the 22nd, a lot of you folks that attend the Lawmakers Listen. At the time, it was with Speaker Psyche, and as you folks know, was not reelected. But the fact that he still came out and allowed some of the groundwork to come out, preparing for the next session, you folks gave a lot of great feedback to Commissioner Marfil, and now our newly elected House Speaker Nadine Nakamura. You folks are very aware that I have a great relationship with her, and it has always been the imperative of me to make sure that Nanakuli is always a great partner with the folks that are helping guide our state. I do want to add, though, that for context, Speaker Nakamura is now the first ever female to hold the position in the House as a first elected female House Speaker for our chamber. And previously, Senator Juana Busa was the first female to also hold that position in the state Senate. So great things. On October 25th, the PUC had the first public hearing for the gas rate increase. I had provided testimony in a letter opposing all of that. We'll see what they're going to end up doing. They're doing a couple more consultations. On October 30th, prior, there was a story that ran about the DOE was proposing their budget to BOE to cut the Learning Center funding. Myself, Councilmember Tumola, former Rep Eli, penned a letter and testimony in opposition. I'm pleased to share that through 2027 it will be funded, but I'm sure we will have to fight again to make sure those funds stay. On October 31st, I had the chance to ride along with the Hawaiian Humane Society. We went to 2 camps out here. It's interesting to really see the work that they're doing to make sure that animal welfare is a top priority for the way that some of these folks are hosting their animals. On November 2nd, there was an avocado tree giveaway, and I want to extend my gratitude to Kumuke Kai. They gave away 200 trees that day. November 5th was election day, and I'm very aware of the concerns that were brought up. And my understanding is the county is working to address a plan going forward for the next 2 years so that we not run into that again. On November 7th, I convened a meeting with DV advocates on working for future legislation. As you know, the mother, Teresa Cuchula, lives here in Nanakuli, so she's been the one spearheading a lot of that. And hopefully before next month, we can kind of have a working bill of what we'll be presenting. On the 8th, we had the Arbor Day ceremony, and I want to thank the Parks and Councilmember Tupola for inviting us out to Mahili. And that same evening, we were able to pen a memoriam certificate to honor the life of Kashka Aro with permission from his family, and they extend their gratitude for the way the community is wrapped around them. On November 9th, we hosted Congressman Takuda here at the Waianae Coast Comprehensive Health Center. She is concerned for federal funds and is trying to figure out what way we're going to position ourselves moving forward with the new administration. Recently, this week, November 12th, DHHL announced the release of $72 million from the federal government to address broadband, specifically on the Hawaiian homesteads. This is different from the $23 million for BEAD funding. BEAD funding is statewide. This money that DHHL acquired specifically is for homestead land. And then on 11/15, I was pleased to hear and announce with DOT that the majority, 95% of road repairs at Maipoloa Bridge is now done. And starting this week is the final small things that will need to be done to make the bridge fully operational. As you folks know, this project went back several representatives, and I think every one of them have helped along the way. And as you folks know, the last 2 years, I've gone through every infrastructure project to try to make sure we are on top of things. Okay, so we've also dealt with several constituent issues of overgrown properties posing fire threats throughout the district. DPP has been a great partner as that, as well as the DHHL. There's an unhoused individual on a DHHL lot here on Farrington Highway. They have been removed and replaced. I encourage everyone to be on the lookout for folks that are occupying property that you do know that they do not live on. Regarding the Pa'akea full-time access road, DOT has shared that they're on track for early March to open the road full-time. March, April, that's the date they're shooting for. And then I want to let you folks know that, stating it now, that next year this time is the start of the Farrington Highway expansion for the 5th lane, right? We want to address traffic. We want to address all these things. It's going to take construction. So remember, we are going to work for short-term inconvenience on long-term benefits, right? I've asked DOT to repave the road by Hiko going Makaha bound on the closest Mauka lane. As you folks know, there's been a lot of imperfections on that road. DOT is slated to make some improvements from Black Rocks to Ko'olina to address illegal U-turns and some of the dangerous safety maneuvers. So that'll be happening in the next couple of months. Steve Alm has been very aware of the arson suspect that was arrested and the passing of HB 1842, which will now deem the person who committed this crime to be charged with a Class C felony by committing arson on a red flag warning day. Per his email, we are taking care of it and we'll address it. Regarding what Board Member Corono mentioned, DLNR did demolish the property. They did share that that was the plan. I will be very transparent that you folks passed a resolution opposing any kauhale in the Senate district entirely. I will let you folks know that there is a contingent of members that are still trying to push for something. I have expressed that your board position is to not see some of those things. I do want to let you folks know that Auntie Doreen is taking time to enjoy with her son who is visiting. So forgive me if there's a slight delay in some of the response, but she is monitoring email and phone calls. She is working to potentially coordinate several spaces over the next several weeks to hold just community office hours so that folks can hang out if they want to with me for an hour or two. Nadine Nakamura is our first female House Speaker. And sorry, that's all I have.
Thank you. Oof, that was a mouthful. So any questions from our board?
I will make sure to make that an email to you folks available tomorrow.
Yes, thank you. Board Member Myers.
Thank you, Chair. I just have 3 questions. The Hawaii Interagency on Council on Homelessness, you're on that committee or on that council. When is your guys' next meeting with John Mizuno?
John scheduled something last month, but at this time, they're really inconsistent on scheduling. I believe that appointment still holds true with our new House Speaker. I haven't been told anything differently, but at this time, they started planning a month out for that last meeting. So right now, I don't have any date set for that meeting.
So as far as for the whole year, you guys were going to have something did you have it last month?
Yes.
Oh, you did?
They had it at DOT airport. Sorry, the Honolulu airport is where they hosted the meeting.
Okay, I'll go look it up. So that was the last meeting for the year.
I don't want to say yes because I don't know.
Okay. And then I know that when SOSH was created, that's John Mizuno's new department, that HICH is still supposed to oversee SOSH, right?
HIC.
Oh, HIC.
Homeless Integration, yeah. So that is technically their reporting.
They are.
board. Yes.
Okay, so it's not, okay. And then my second question has to do with the biennium budget. So I know the biennium budget was 24-25, which June 2025 is when we end 25? For
Yes,
fiscal
sorry.
25.
Yes.
So do you think that we'll be able to get in the budget for the SRO positions for the new biennium budget?
So the request is for the board, right, that in this upcoming 2025-26 budget, you folks are asking for it to be budgeted as a DLE position. Is that correct?
Those 2 SROs that we were talking about with the
Right.
resolution.
So we can push for it, right? I cannot make, I can push for it. That's the one promise I can make. I cannot, we will have to see how the budget prevails, right? Because the House always initiates the budget. It then goes to the Senate, then goes to conference to figure out how it will be addressed. So I can make a formal request to our finance chair for the position. I can draft the bill for the position, and we'll have to see really how it's going to progress.
Okay, and then if you can keep it on rotation until those positions are actually on the budget, can you keep it on rotation? Keep it on the burner as far as if it doesn't make for fiscal year 25, 26 or fiscal year 25 or 26, then if you can keep it going until we actually get those positions in the schools? Is that something that?
So I forgot, I did need to clarify. So right now for the pilot, it is slated to start ending 3rd quarter, going to 4th quarter. It's going to be 89-day hire. We're trying to time it to pretty much coincide with the start ending there to go into 4th quarter to pretty much end right on the last day, right? Because right now what is happening is that HPD is saying that the DLE is going to need to have the jurisdiction. DLE is looking at the county model. So as you folks know, that is the discussion happening. But the first implementation will be the 89-day hire
Okay.
with HPD. So that way it is the same officer. It's not a special duty position where one day it's this guy, the next day is a woman. The 89-day hire will be the one to stay on for the time.
I'm confused. So HPD wants to staff the SRO in the high schools, not the law enforcement.
I think HPD is doing it at the request of the way that we've started it, but I think the appetite for long-term is for the state to be the one to assign a sheriff. So that is the clash happening right now.
Okay.
So the first implementation of the pilot will be the 89-day hire HPD. But their saying, right, is that the county shouldn't be staffing a state school.
Right.
So
it cannot come under law enforcement.
it can, right? So, but the first implementation will be the pilot with the 89-day hire before we get to the part of anything being budgeted.
So is our Leeward Coast the pilot? Our two schools?
As of right now, yes.
Okay.
With the county.
Okay. Excellent. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Because they've only felt comfortable committing to that one position, obviously, given some of the staffing shortfalls.
Thank you. Any other questions from the board?
What, no, it's not a question for Darius, though. Where I came from the state of Washington, they didn't have this program, same thing too, okay? And they had to come to an agreement, which was the MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. Who's gonna take responsibility, number one, liability, because of school, which the jurisdiction is school. So anything that happens in the school would be school oriented. Yes, they're responsible. But if there is a crime on the school, whatever that crime might be, an assault, somebody got something stolen, that'd be a crime. So the police officer would investigate that on that property. So the jurisdiction, if you're looking at jurisdiction, the school is only the campus, but the campus falls in the county. Campus falls in the county now. It's the same thing with DHHL land. But if you have a crime on DHHL land, it falls in the county. You call the police department. You are not going to call DHHL's law enforcement unit because they don't have the manpower. If everybody can follow that rule of thumb, so you need someone to be there 24/7. Okay, 24/7. The largest department in the state is the HPD department for this island, at least. Okay, so you would have to have at least that department, DOE, sit on a table and come to that MOU. What can we do that's going to follow your rule, and what can we not do that would still be within the rules? If you follow what I'm saying, right? They just have to come to that agreement. That's it. And if the powers to be, the last one that's going to have the power to say would be our almighty one. And if they follow that rule of thumb, they should come to a real good agreement. They should, using that rule of thumb now. Thank you, Darius.
Yeah, so I will share, right, like the county has expressed that they would respond to any crime within the county. But for the staffing of a full-time position, they are saying that the state should be the one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is so I appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much for your presentation. We will move on to Army Representative Lieutenant Colonel Jason Knaps.
Good evening, everyone. First off, congratulations to Senator-elect, to Madam Chair, to the new board people. My name is Jason Kappas. I am your Army representative with a couple quick announcements. The first is the Waikiki Holiday Parade commemorates the Pearl Harbor by honoring survivors and veterans in memory of the attacks from December 7th, 1941. Come watch the Hawaiian bands, marching bands from the mainland, military units. One of my sister units will be there marching. Local officials and dignitaries march down the torch-lit roads of near Waikiki Beach. That happens the day after Thanksgiving, November 29th at 7 p.m. Next is the 83rd National Pearl Harbor Remembrance Day commemoration. That will be held on December 7th at Pearl Harbor Visitor Center at 7:45 a.m. for anyone interested in attending. There's also a public ceremony that will be held at Fort DeRussy from 4 to 8 p.m. The final thing I have, I know I missed last month's meeting because I was at JPMRC. So that was the big event that the Army threw here with a lot of international partners, our partners from across the Pacific, doing our fake battle against each other, trying to do a lot of training. I just want to say that that event was a huge success, and a lot of that has to go with the community. So I just appreciate your patience and your understanding as we went through that event. Hopefully it wasn't too loud or bothersome for everyone. So I just want to thank the community for that. Any questions? That's all I have.
Thank you. Any questions for Army Representative? Board Member Myers.
I just have a quick question. You know, we have the cleanups. I remember Army does provide volunteers. I'm sorry for last minute request, but we have that Uliava cleanup that was in the flyer. I can give that to you from the city. But if I should make more of a intention to give you a heads up or ask at least Councilmember Tupolo's office to ask Army for assistance. Yeah. To get volunteers to come out and help. Thanks, David. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Any further questions? Thank you very much. Navy Representative Victor Flint. Jules.
Yes. Hi, this is Jewel Felipe representing Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam. I'll be going first and then Uncle Vic will be talking. I see, there you go. Brother Jeffrey has my slides up. So last neighborhood board meeting, I brought up the brush fire on October 7th. So on the bottom right-hand corner of this slide, the investigation is POW, but information is moving forward to legal. So me and Uncle Vic will provide more details as it comes available. So I apologize. Ekalamai, please be patient. Even we're like really wanting to know what's going on and why this is taking so long. Next slide, please. And speaking of cleanups, this actually happened. This community pre-workday cleanup happened on Lualua Le Naval Annex Road. And so actually this is Navy personnel and community members. Andrea Tupola was there as well. So this was called a pre-workday cleanup because we worked with archaeologists to help guide us about the heiau. So basically we kind of made it safer because he put out like little flags so that we do anticipate like students to be helping. So we want them to stay in like this this marked area so it's safe for them. So we were able to clear out invasive trees using hand tools and battery operated saws. So this workday is part of Navy's ongoing effort to work with the community to preserve and care for the sacred site. So in the picture, we filled one giant bin, and Andrea Tupola told us I think she would get us like 5 bins the next time. The next cleanup that will include a larger scale of the community. So again, this pre-work day was just to help see the pros and cons and also plan out like the safety ways on where we want the groups of people who are gonna clean up, what area we want them to stay. So next cleanup is to be determined. They're guessing maybe it's gonna happen in January 2025. So I'll talk about when we figure out all the details. Next slide. This is a Navy Closure Task Force update. So anything in regards to Navy Closure Task Force Red Hill, on the bottom in red, there's their phone number, 808-590-7690, and as well as their email. But I do want to share this official statement that was shared by the Inspector General in his reports that was released on November 14, 2024. I'm not going to read the whole entire statement as it's already been a long night, but I do want to highlight the green points that were made in his statement. So Navy remains dedicated to transparency and accountability in our operations. And also we are doing our best to continue to work diligently to address recommendations to enhance public trust. And then now moving forward, I'll pass over the baton to Uncle Vic.
Thanks, Jewel. Victor Flint, Naval Facilities. November 12th, we're working with this person who's in charge of grants called the OLDCC grants. Her name is Susan Belzy. And we took her on a huaka'i. We went Mauka. So she can see some of the challenges we have with the Kolikoli Pass Road. And hopefully we can get some grant money to assist with work with the state, get that road upgraded for emergency leeward egress. Also, we was looking at the radio tower field at Lualuale because of the flooding that goes on that field that also affects the people of Mikilua. That request for grant monies was refused, but I brought it up again, only this time so she could see with her own eyes some of the challenges that we have, not only for the Navy mission, but the people of Mikilua as well. And she's reinterested. So these are all good things that happened on November 12th. November 15th, that was the big traffic problem. And Navy is working with the city to get the Waianae Coast Emergency Access Route open. Much mahalos to Andrea Tupola, who led the charge. We had some logistic challenges, but I'm glad the road was there to help move the traffic. And also, as a stakeholder, we look forward to working with the state to get that from an emergency bypass route to a 24/7 Farrington Highway bypass route. State Senator Kila, State Rep Kila, have you been Malka yet? Let's go. You need to see some stuff. So I spoke to you about that. I want to take you up there the next time. So I'll let you know.
Thank
That's
you.
all I have. Are there any questions for Joel or myself?
One quick
Quick.
question.
Vic, hey Vic, you gave me the MOU once before and I've lost it. Can you do me a favor and send me that MOU for Pa'akea and the emergency access road MOU that you had for me? And can you email it to Jermaine?
Yeah,
All right, I appreciate it.
that's easy.
If you could send it to me, thanks.
Quick question. from
Yes, I have
board
one
member.
question for Jewel.
Yes.
Jewel, the answer that it's legal, why you don't have an answer for the cause of the fire? It being
Actually,
legal,
Uncle Vic can talk more about that. He actually was there himself.
I'm sorry?
Uncle Vic has more details on the fire, and actually he can talk more about that answer because he was actually with Fed Fire.
Because I want to know, was it intentional by an arsonist? Was it due to neglecting the dry brush? Or was there faulty equipment that caused that's on Navy that caused that? Because again, Victor knows that when there was the releases in the tanks, I had asked what was the cause of it. And it's always been an excuse and an excuse and excuse until we had the situation that we had. So, fires are that happen in our community. It's really important that we find out the cause. So Victor, what is the cause?
The point of origin, well, first two things, point of origin and cause. Both were determined. That information was given to the fire department. I'm not in the fire department anymore. They completed the investigation based on the facts that were collected that day to where they can show what it was. They can also show what it was not. That information was put together and given to Navy Legal. They have to review and make the determination. After we get that, we can send it out. We can't give that information out until it goes through Navy Legal, but we got the info already.
Does the state law say that you can detain us? Delay the report to us? Because
I don't know.
So
I don't know about state law. I know about
I'll go look into
the
it. because
federal, but
You were supposed to give us an answer regarding the releases within 30 days and you didn't. So I just want to make sure you're in compliance with state law.
Sorry, due to time, we can take this offline. Thank you. Committee reports is tabled. Announcement, next regular board meeting, date to be determined, December 17th, 7 p.m. here at the Nanakuli Public Library via WebEx platform. This meeting's adjourned.